So, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Risking It All. Today we are joined by Zish Head of New Business at All Seasons Energy.
That's
Zish,
right.
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for travelling up for sunny Bury today to be with us.
First time in Scotland for me, so I had a nice little tour of Glasgow and the areas.
I tried my best, Zish. Sorry about that. Wasn't quite a glamorous tour guide.
Still got to afterwards go to Celtic. Don't we? The Celtic Park.
You show you Celtic Park.
Yeah. So I'm a Liverpool fan, so there's a connection there, isn't there?
Yeah, you stole our song.
Yeah. Because I wasn't around then. You can't blame me for that. You know.
Right, well, as always, Zish, we like to just ask our guests to take us back to where it all began, really. So tell us a bit about your childhood, your upbringing, your school and education.
Do you know what? One of my memories is I wanted to be at school. That sounds sad. Doesn't it? I wanted to be at school. I looked forward to school. I was a quick learner, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think I had a couple of years of infant school, maybe a year and a half, and then it was primary school. But I liked it. Mm-hmm. I was quickly progressed into, like, there were three groups, weren't there? The really clever people, the really thick people, and the in-betweeners. Yeah, well, I was an in-betweener then, wasn't I? So yeah, I was in that group. So yeah, it was just I had a passion for learning, you know, because I think it comes psychologically from having the deprivation of that, watching other kids go to school and stuff when I was younger and I couldn't. So yeah.
Yeah, and when you were going through school, what was the age gap between you and your sister? Were you going through it together?
She's younger than me by 9 years.
Right, okay.
I think. Yeah, 8 or 9 years, something like that. So it's between 8 and 9 years. So yeah, when my dad died, she was only young. She was only 4, I think. So I'm her fatherly figure that, you know, that brought her up with my mum, obviously, because I was not at home all the time.
Yeah. And did that passion for enjoying the academic life, I guess, follow you through into high school and further education after that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I reached set 1, which was the top set for a couple of subjects. I wasn't, you know, there was that elite group, wasn't there, in your school? I'm sure if you boys were in it, you know of the elite
I wasn't
group.
in it. I was not in it.
I didn't want to be offensive then. You know? So yeah, there was the elite group, which I never was, and I loved school. College as well. You know, college was a brilliant experience.
What did you study at college?
So I did media studies, politics, sociology. Those 3 A levels, really enjoyed it. Got on with the principal really well. We used to play tennis together. So I was on the front cover of the prospectus for a number of years. So really, really had a great time at college. Loved it. Yeah.
And were you any good at tennis?
Yes.
Did you beat him?
I was playing in amateur tournaments, but we'll talk about a condition I've got which really restricted me. When I was 18, it was proper hitting me hard. So playing sports and things got a lot harder. But yeah, me and the principal, we got on really well, and we played a lot of tennis together. So maybe that's why he put me on the prospectus. I don't know. Not because I was a bright student by any shape.
Trying to get you to take it easy on him, maybe.
Yeah.
And obviously you mentioned about your condition. And you know, talk to us a little bit about that, because I know that, you know, it's affected you.
Yeah. So I have a condition called myotonia. It's one of the muscular dystrophies. It's a muscle channel disorder, and it affects you mentally. Fatigue is a big factor. It affects you physically. Mobility is a huge issue. And it's affected me in every single thing I've done in life. Only when I was 18 or 19 it was diagnosed as that. I was just thought of as a weak child simply because I'd been ill a lot when I was younger. So I was just considered this weak child. But when we actually found out what it was a real life-changing moment. To be told at 18, budding tennis player, and I also played pool, if you remember, you know, we've discussed. So to be told you're going to be in a wheelchair by the age of 40, your whole life comes down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Psychologically, it was very bad. My A levels, I actually struggled because of this fact that, oh my God, this can happen to me. And I also had a problem with my knee, which had an operation where they chopped a piece of bone off. There's a procedure, it's got a name, in 1999. So when I was 19, big 20, all these big things were happening.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I've not let it affect me that much. I just get on with it. You do what you can, don't you? And I've got to say, I'm so appreciative of the support I've received from the state, from the NHS, from my doctors, the nurses. It's been absolutely amazing. Without them, I wouldn't be anywhere.
Brilliant.
Good, mate. We're glad to hear it's not held you back in any way. And to be honest, I would never have known until you told me this morning.
Yeah.
Do you know that
Same.
way? So that's testament to how you've just cracked on and not let it get in your way. So
No, I think quite a lot of people are going to be shocked hearing this. But I'm open about it. I've got nothing to hide. It's there. It's a condition. And you've got to deal with it. My only problem is when I am using crutches and things like that, people don't understand. Oh, you were looking good the other day. It's a hidden condition.
Aye.
It's a hidden disability,
And does it kind of peak and trough in its severity at times?
Yeah, in the winter it's very, very hard. Nice and pleasant day today, isn't it? So it was a easy journey for me. But I couldn't, again, without the support of my crutches and stuff like that, I couldn't have done it. It's really hard to travel without my car. My car is like, I go everywhere. Because sometimes you physically can't walk to the shop round the corner. You just can't get up. And it's not just about walking, it affects my arms, it affects my swallowing, affects breathing. I have to have an ECG every so often, just to make sure breathing all right. I did some breathing exercises which I've never done before 2 weeks ago. They really knocked me out. I was in a lot of pain with my chest. My muscles were physically hurting. So it is, it's a lot to deal with.
I think the job that you've did for a long time as well, which we'll obviously come on to. So you enjoyed college, got yourself through college. You're then at that point where you think, right, I need to join the workforce. What was job number one for Zish?
Job number one for me was at a place called Stationery Box when I was 16.
Yeah.
I was just before 16. They took me on because my national insurance number arrived. It was a stationery shop. Loved it. Got one lifelong friend from there from when I was 15. Now I'm 44. He's a couple of years older than me. Really nice guy. So good memories. I still see a couple of people all the time we used to work with, and we have a laugh and stuff. But yeah, really, really good experience. £2 an hour. Thought that was amazing. Payday was like, yes, I want £2 an hour. And when it went up to 250, we were cloud nine. So it was good.
We've often said, we've even said it in the podcast a couple of times already, you're never more loaded than when you had your first job and still lived with your parents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so what was next for you? Just take us through your working career, I guess, in running order.
Yeah, so did uni, worked in a couple of bars, but again, my myotonia was really affecting me.
Yeah.
That must have been horrid. I've worked in bars and people don't appreciate how tiring it is to stay on your feet for like 6 hours and pour pints and move about. And with the condition that you've described, that must have been torturous almost.
Yeah, to be honest, I got lucky with my managers. The thing is, guys, when you're really open with someone and you don't hide anything, humans will support you. So I did have a chair, behind the bar, like a bar stool to sit down. So I loved bar work, but physically it was very, very hard.
It is.
Very hard. So I got a job in a call centre for we all have. Who's not worked in the call centre?
I don't think we've interviewed a single person yet that's not worked in a call centre. Apart from me.
It was a fashion statement, wasn't it? Late 90s, early 2000s. You had to work in a call centre.
Did you work in?
So they were catalogues, Great Universal and K's. In fact, they were taken over by a Scottish group called Reality.
Right.
At the time I was there.
I can remember those catalogues because my mum's an avid shopper, and it was a catalogue would come. My dad, you'd see his face go chalk white, and, oh God, and then she'd be straight in the phone. So
Lovely.
was that role there when you're answering the inbound calls?
No, I was the guy who phoned your mum.
Yeah.
Right, you've got to buy this today, and guess what? I'm going to give you free bounce back pillows with your order. And you saved £1.59 by ordering all these things, so it was it wasn't pressured telesales. You sold insurance, order building, things like that. Worked in a couple of call centres, and I did a law degree. So in 2001, we had this mad idea, me and my friend, that we weren't going to sit one exam because we weren't prepared for it. Didn't sit it. Went on a tour of the US in the summer of leaving. Came back, and the week after was my exam. So failed miserably. And then I thought, what's the point? I don't want to do law now, and what's the point? But again, continuing in call centres, went to JD Williams, which I think they're still around today, another kind of catalogue. Got made a shadow team leader, and then a team leader, then I got sacked. And then I realised, hang on, maybe law is the thing for me. Went back, finished my degree off, got a job in a barrister's chambers, and a very, very big criminal law outfit. And the money's in defending criminals, something I didn't really like. So I just walked out and left.
Yeah.
One day, just
was
left.
Was there any, I can see what you mean about defending criminals and that sort of moral compass kind of being pressured, but was there any sort of trigger point that pushed you over the edge with that?
Yeah, there was an incident in the paper, I don't know if it came to our chambers, of a young lad knifing a pensioner and robbing her £85 pension, and there was all hoo-ha because the area where the barristers' chambers were a lot of barristers' chambers, and it was 2 minutes from the Manchester Crown Court. So, that was there, and I just thought, are we going to be defending this kid?
Yeah.
Do I really want to be associated with that? And my main role as a junior was billing fees. I was a fees clerk. So I was the one seeing how much money they're earning from this. So it depends on your moral compass, doesn't it? So I then moved into phone a friend, that's the audience, yeah. Phone a friend, said, right, you're a solicitor. I want to be a solicitor. So did my LPC, paid a lot of money, decided again it wasn't for me, jacked it in.
What's an LPC?
A legal practice course.
Okay.
Yeah, so after your law degree, they don't tell you this when you're signing up for law.
Yeah.
It's £10,000 to pay for a legal practice course.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was around that time. I don't know what it is now.
Yeah.
I thought again, it's not for me, jacked it in.
There goes my career in law.
Yeah. No, you can work your way through it, but it'll take you 25 years.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I went back, paid more fees, worked in solicitors. And again, my myotonia was really, really hampering me at this time. It was physically demanding, mentally demanding. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, by Thursday, I was literally a vegetable.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't move.
And see, like, obviously, when you've mentioned it a couple of times, it's been such a struggle. Just for anybody listening that's got anything remotely similar, was there any key sort of therapies or steps you took to get you through that when it was really tough?
Because it's a problem with your DNA. There wasn't any medication at this time. Physiotherapy just did not work because your muscles are always in that condition. Physiotherapy works as a recovery, stretching, etc. But I'm really grateful for the support I received. There was a local health club that opened, which had a hydrotherapy pool. So I paid a physio, and she taught me some hydrotherapy exercises, which I use to this day. Very, very, very useful. But I just kept going because there's been something in my mind from that age, from leaving law and seeing all my friends become solicitors and things like that, hang on, I'm not successful.
I was going to ask a question on that, right? So I reckon there would be a lot of people, especially post-diagnosis and having experienced a bit of, God, this is really holding me back, that might actually have not necessarily thrown in the towel, but taken a bit of an easier path, or thought, actually, I just need to listen to my body here? What was it that you think, you started touching on it there, but what was it that you think really drove you to think, no, I'm not going to let this hold me back, just going to go for it?
It's hard. It's hard. I'm getting emotional now because it's bringing me back to a time. Just fear, being scared. What's going to happen to my life? What's going to happen to my children? Because in between all that, I got married at a very young age. Just fear.
Yeah.
Being scared that I didn't want to fail. Your title there, risking it all. It sums you up.
Yeah. No,
So was your family and pushing you on to want to be successful for them? So was that the main sort of drive?
Yes, it was for a while, but then it came back to being about me, and that's, when I realised again that law isn't the way forward. If this is my condition, this is what I'm going to put up with. So my friend said, what do you enjoy doing the most? And I said, driving. I love driving. So he said, get a taxi badge while you're figuring your life out. So I became a private hire driver. By the way, I despise private hire drivers. For some unknown reason, growing up, despised them because they used to charge me £1 from here to there, and I'm like, why are you charging me £1? It should be 50p. Became one. Driving round, had this idea of getting wine bars, so got together with a friend who landed in some money. He was more into the security side. He was a doorman and had a security company. I was more a gobshite. Can I say that word? Yeah. So marketing and stuff. But again, my condition didn't help. It's very, very working in a bar, owning one. Financially, it hit us so hard. And then you've got the local authorities who weren't very friendly. We had an issue where right opposite us now, just talking out loud here, it's a busy town centre of bars. You've got an O'Neill's, remember them? They were around, I don't know if they were in Scotland, O'Neill's, yeah. Above O'Neill's, in this busy town centre, you have sheltered accommodation for people with mental health problems. Oh. In a busy town centre bar. And one of them complained about our music. Nobody else's, just our music. And we weren't the troublesome bar here. Because we were new and we were starting to affect other people's business, I can't prove it, but there's rumours. Mm-hmm. And the council came down hard on us. We lost our music licence.
Right.
And because of my legal knowledge, I managed to find a way around it and got it back. Then we permanently got it back. They knew I wasn't going to give up. We permanently got it back with a noise limiter. But again, that business closing for so many weeks, all that loyalty you built up was all gone.
Yeah, it hammered you. And that's such an interesting combination of careers, Zish. I've got a question on that. So you went into taxiing's what you love, and then wine bar. So how did you go from one to the other?
So do you know what? I'm quite blessed with my mind. I'm very creative. I think about things and I make a million plans. I'm sure we all do. But I'm one of those who'll actually do it.
Yeah.
I know so many people think and think and think and think, not do anything about it. Mm-hmm. Just be sat there and not do anything about it. I'll give it a go. It's not all about money. I've hardly had any all my life. Money isn't my motivation. So it was when I was about 20 odd. I'm going to be a millionaire if I do this and, and do this and I'll be a millionaire. Nah, it doesn't work like that. So, I just found a gap in the market. People weren't staying in Bury. They were going out for drinks or meals and they were coming back home. So I thought, hey, let's give a destination venue, a classy destination venue, not trash, because that's, there was lots of good bars in Bury, but that was the market, the affluent people.
So were you trying to attract people from, or stop people from Bury heading into like Manchester for a really classy night out, night
absolutely,
time?
Absolutely. And we had one in Kendal, Again,
No.
I had to go to a tribunal. I did it myself. Didn't hire a solicitor. We passed the tribunal. There were lots of hecklers, I call them, in the gallery who tried to not get that bar license, but it happened. So we had two, one in Bury, one in Kendal, but a financial disaster. Honestly, a massive, massive financial disaster. And I just walked away.
Yeah.
I
And
just had to.
what do you think was the contributor to that? Looking
The
back on it.
a business partner relationship, my condition,
Yeah.
and the law.
Okay.
The subject I want to stay away from came back to bite me. But, to be honest, I saved there's a lot of legal fees because of my legal knowledge, both tribunals, to get the Kendal license and then the Bury music license back. I did it myself.
Yeah.
That'd save you a fortune.
Yeah.
So you're two bars down, I guess, and it wasn't for you in the end.
Yeah.
What was the next step in your journey?
I went back to a call centre. This time, Very. Must have heard of them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so same kind of... and it's actually interesting what life does to you. So this was in Bolton. Yeah. A very same part of the Shop Direct group now. Reality's gone, etc. And as it turns out, when I told you about this job in when I was at uni for the Reality in the catalogues,
Yeah.
Bolton was one of their other sites. And my team leader kind of made me a team leader, which I cocked up, by the way. But she had a job lined up for me to be a team leader at this Bolton place. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, 10 years later, I declined that job. 10 years later, I'm back there as a employee, as a junior.
Junior member of staff.
That's what life does to you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that?
Yes, swings and roundabouts. You just don't know where you kind of go back to. It's interesting how it all works.
Like we were talking before today's podcast started, and I was sharing with you, if I've learned anything across the first couple of episodes, it seems like it's pretty rare that like business owners, entrepreneurs sit down at an early age and go, right, this is the path. I'm going to plan it out. I'm going to execute. It's just folk stumble through life and they pivot based on circumstance and go, I'll try that. Right, I really like that, so I'll stick with it. Or actually, that's not really working out, so I'll try something else. And you just kind of fumble your way into something that eventually you go, aye, this is it. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
Or I'm earning good money. Or I found my reason why, so I'll keep at it.
Yeah, and it also shows the importance of not souring relationships if you can avoid it as well, because you just don't know when you're going to cross paths again.
Don't burn bridges.
Yeah,
absolutely. And stumbled across Eco, in 2013. I stumbled across it, honestly.
So I'm going to stop you, right? I'm going to just intervene for a second, right?
Yeah.
Before you get into your career in Eco, let's put you to the test and see if you can do a much better job than Barry and I. Because whenever folk ask us what is Eco for, I'll not speak for Barry, right? But I fumble my way through explaining what it is every single time. So for those that are listening that might not know, what is the Eco scheme?
So, in summary, the Eco scheme is designed by the government to help people in fuel poverty to increase the energy efficiency of their home, so they have a better way of managing their bills, which have risen, and they pass the obligation on to energy companies so it doesn't come out of the taxpayer's pocket. So ECO stands for Energy Company Obligation, and that's it in a summary. In fuel poverty, who's in fuel poverty? Well, they had the list to start with of people in fuel poverty had to be on a certain benefit, and also the carbon savings of the measures being installed at that person's property have got to be viable. So if you wanted light bulbs, there was a time from the mid-2000s onwards where we got free light bulbs in the post and free cavity wall insulation and free loft insulation. This was going a bit further, so boilers and insulation together for people who didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
So,
and that's an interesting point as well, because it's been a bit of a while, and we do a lot of marketing in Eco, and a lot of people don't still know it exists, and they probably don't really get it. But the way you've articulated it there is Brian, you were right. It's
I
definitely
need
better
to
than
take
what
some
was
notes. I need to take some notes.
I was totally nagging what they told me. I thought it was people that were going to get money off heat source pumps or that, or do things, but not people that are in fuel poverty. Somebody that's just getting a bit of help to make their home more efficient.
Yeah, so that's it. It's about making your home more efficient, but using, people say it's a government grant, which it kind of is because they're the people who make the decisions, but it's funded by energy companies. So it's harder to tell somebody on the phone as a pitch in an advert, E.ON are paying for this, or British Gas or SSE are paying for. They won't get it. They might get more scared. But saying government backed, I've seen lots of government grant. I've never said that, by the way, in my history of eco. I'm a procedure kind of guy. I'm a rule kind of guy, so I've stuck by it. It's a government backed grant by all means, but certainly there are government schemes as well to do with eco. The funding does come from the government, but traditionally, eco is more.
Okay, so well done. You've passed the eco test. You'll be glad to know.
With flying colours.
Thank you.
We'll take you back. So you mentioned that you stumbled across eco in its entirety. Take us back to that. How did you stumble across it?
So I was at a friend's property. He'd just bought it for repairs. And the two lads, we just went down. I'm useless, by the way, simply mentally and also because of my myotonia. My grip is very weak, so I'm not very good with tools or hammers or screwdrivers even, So physically and mentally, I'm kind of not. If I need something doing, I phone someone to come and do it. Light bulbs included, by the way.
Just like the three of us, Zish, to be honest, but we don't have any other.
Take my number. I'm pretty handy with a toolbox, to be honest.
Listen, your fuel charges from Glasgow to Bury will be a fortune. So don't go on Checker Trade advertising yourself or whatever it's called. You won't get much business from me. So we were there, and there were two young lads who came to do some room. Right, we used to call it an attic, but now I call it a room in the roof because that's what it is, a room in the roof. So they came to do some attic repairs, and we just got talking. You know me, gobshite again, just talking to everyone, trying to find out more about things. So I was at Bury at this time, and just wanted to know more about what they were doing. There was a company, and they were in a shabby van and stuff, and they got talking, and the property didn't have a boiler. So they turned around and said, my friend wasn't here that day, gave me the key to help him out, let these people in and stuff, because he was like, I don't want to give him keys. Okay, fine. I'll go do it, because I didn't work during the day. It was an evening job. So they said, this property hasn't got a boiler. Right, there's a scheme coming up, and this is what you need to do. I went, listen, it's not my property, so I'll pass the message on. And I went, what scheme? So then, just coincidentally, one of the owners was there as well. So he started going out about it. And he was like me. He was more inquisitive about me. What do you do? Said, I'm just had a failed business venture and working part-time and just wondering what else to do. He says, well, this scheme's coming up and it's a free boiler scheme and I'll be looking for customers. Send me customers and I'll pay you a referral fee. Well, okay. So did a bit of digging. Made a few phone calls. Who wants a free boiler? Me. Mm-hmm. Okay. So referred a few friends. They paid me. And then I invested £150 into some leaflets. £100 in leaflets, £50 for distribution. And there we are. My life in eco was
born.
Big beginning. Yeah, born. Yeah, great word. Yeah.
That's crazy. And that, again, ringing through some of the other conversations we've had so far, Zish, that's a chance encounter.
Yes.
It's crazy how it all works.
Yeah.
And what year was that? I was going to ask when.
2013.
2013.
March 2013. I remember, very well. I have a passion for it now, guys. 11 years. Not many people come and stay in eco for that long. They've been and gone, or there's quite a few good people still about. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong.
So you got yourself some leaflets for some door drops. You got them delivered. What was the tipping point or realisation, I guess, from that point to thinking I could really grow this into a legitimate business here?
Well, the guy I was speaking about screwed me over for about £4,000. Yeah. So that was my shot after 6 months, 7 months of, we've split up, we've done, me and business partner have gone a different way. He owes you, you were his client, blah, blah, blah. Luckily, I met a very, very, very nice gentleman who I'll be grateful forever. Mr. G. That's his name, by the way, Mr. G. Mr. G, if you're listening, this tribute is for you. And he was a letting agent in Bolton. And I approached him for free boilers. In the middle of his applications, this happened to me. So I said, stop. He said, look, you're a good guy. I'm going to introduce you to this chap who does what you do. His nephew owns the company. So I went to see them, Andy and Wilkin, through their uncle Alan. And they said, look, we're not greedy and we'll pay you and we just need customers. So that's what I started doing there. And I was really apprehensive. I said, look, you've got to pay me this much then and this much then and this much then. And I was doing it for £50 and £100 per referral, which was a godsend for them because they were making a fortune. I only found that out afterwards. But they stuck by their word and I'm still in touch with them today, from 10 years ago.
So there's a couple of things that you've touched on there that I'd like to kind of not unpick, but just ask for your opinion on. So
Sure.
In the whole marketing and lead generation space in Eco4, it seems to be littered with stories like you've just shared. I got stung, I got into business with the wrong person, X person owed me Y money and I've been chasing them for it for a long time. You just get a sense that there's a lot of unscrupulous characters that exist within that Eco4 space or within that eco space. What's your I'm sure you've encountered more than that one story that you've shared, but what's your viewpoint on that? Do you think there's merit in that? Do you think that people should err on the side of caution?
So I think one of the reasons, I'm going to use a word here, I touched on it before, success. Yeah, that's me. I'm successful in eco and I'm happily say it. And for anybody working in eco, you need to find people like me. People who've been doing it a long time, people who've got good references. I've won a couple of small awards. Find someone like me. That's what you need. You need trust. That's the factor. Trust. If there's no trust in any business, it's very hard. And it's harder for new installers, I get it, because they have to get over that trust factor. But unfortunately, it's the ones who are new, who do this kind of activity. It's happened to somebody recently, I can't name any names, and I felt so bad for him. Mm-hmm. Touch wood, since then, not happened to me in eco.
Aye.
I've not let it. It's hard. It's a very, very lucrative industry. People just see it for the money and they've done in 6 months and made their money and folded their company, claimed all the funding, and a lot of the customers are left in a mess. But trust, that's the key.
That's the key one. And do you think that's one of you mentioned about the tenure of people in eco? Do you think that's maybe one of the drivers of people having short tenures? Are they looking for the quick wins and then sail off into the sunset? Or
in my experience,
yeah,
for sure.
So see, when you had met the two letting agents, take it you're still working with Very at that point in time, or did you?
I was, yes, yeah, very right, I was. And I left Very because most of the calls were in the evening. I was working in the evening and I was missing calls. Mm-hmm. Now, there's an hourly wage and there's the referral fee. You put the two together and you've got to just decide then, am I going to do this seriously or not? The thing with my leads were, up until Eco4, we're going to get onto Eco4, my conversion was 99%. And the reason was that is I gave my customers a journey rather than treating them as a lead, simply because of my knowledge. I'm quite blessed. I've said to you, I've studied law, I've done this, I've done that. And I know a lot of things that I can help people with, and I'm willing to give my time to help people. Don't mind. That customer isn't just a number for me. There's a couple of things we haven't even spoken about, which I will go into. And during eco, what happened, I had a tough time in eco a few years ago. But yeah.
And was that eco, might as well delve into that actually, Zish. So when was your tough times, and what scheme was it part of?
It was 2017, just before I met All Seasons, where I am now, and gas boilers were coming to an end. Everybody had done what they needed to do with gas boilers, and that was my market. It was single vision, really. I didn't look outside the box. And through the Andy and Wilkin, the boiler company, they approached me with which seemed like too good to be true, but luckily, because I've done a bit of law, I looked into it. Well, do you know what? This works. They came to me with a process called mortgage securitization. Okay? And for want of a better word, there were 17 million irregular mortgages in the UK. And the chaps they were working with, they wanted to introduce me to help them with marketing. So that's saying something, you know. I'm doing eco and I've been approached to market another product, and I thought, you know what, timing's right, let's do it. Unfortunately, they didn't have the funds, these two gentlemen, and customers had to pay a fee to find out if their mortgage was securitized. And if you're listening, do look into mortgage securitization. Do watch a film called The Big Short. Yeah,
I watched it yesterday. Is that just very, very timely?
Yeah, very timely. Yeah. So it's all out in the open. Just unfortunately, lockdown came. There was, I think, a couple of deaths in that process of the organisation, and it's never got anywhere. But not for want of trying. Did that for a year and a half and came back into eco because I realised, look, this is going to be hard work. There wasn't.
So just that on that mortgage. So I'm testing my knowledge and how much I've been listening to The Big Short, right? So The Big Short was obviously about the financial markets crashing and how people were betting on mortgage securities.
Yeah.
So this example you're talking about was a bit later than that. So what was the mortgage securitization, if that's what it's called?
So mortgage securitization started in the late 80s, and according to, these aren't my words, but according to the text shown to me, a baroness who I'm not going to name highlighted this to the government. This baroness still exists today, and she's still an active baroness, by the way, in the 90s, to the government, that this is what's going on and it's not looking right to me. Brush to one side. And since the 90s, it has grown and grown and grown. And one of the reasons why the financial crashes happened was because of mortgage securitization. We'd be here all day, to go into it. But
I could talk about it all day. It fascinates me.
In summary, and we'll have another conversation about it, not a problem. But it's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And there is a way around it, but who wants to listen?
Yeah.
And do something about it? I think the financial institutions are that scared now because of PPI. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If PPI, look how much financial damage or jobs or whatever, however you want to look at it, what PPI did. PPI is an ant. Mortgage securitization is an elephant.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. That's the difference.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to keep taking you down a rabbit hole, and that's so I'm going to stop.
Absolutely.
But watching The Big Short just blew my mind about how it all happened. And
see, just to dig in, coming back to eco, right? So you've got yourself back involved in eco, right? To give the viewers or listeners a sense of just how, I guess, lucrative the ecosphere is. So you don't need to get into the numbers that you've obtained or that anybody that you've worked with has obtained, but even just talking averages, right? You find a home that's eligible, a bog standard home somewhere in the UK. Talk to us a bit about the potential earnings of, I guess, right along the chain. So you have, often a marketer, a lead gen, a fitter. Just give a sense or a flavour for how lucrative that business type is.
Okay. So Eco4 has changed everything that Eco has ever been. Measures are now up to 100,000, 150,000 pounds. Remember, a gas boiler was what, 1,500 quid, 1,600 quid? Yeah. And the installer probably earned a couple of grand from it. So the lead gen got a percentage of that profit as commission. Surveyor earned a survey fee. So it was all small numbers. Eco4's come along. All those numbers have inflated big time. So there is no average on, it's just every application is different. But if you imagine, I've got one house that's come on my desk. I'm actually in talks with the retrofit coordinator about it in Devon yesterday. 300 square metre property. They qualify, old age pensioners qualify because of a health condition through LA Flex, which we can talk about later. The potential value of that job is over £100,000. The potential cost of measures is nearly £90,000. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
So the profit margin isn't big.
Mm-hmm.
However, let's say you come to a property which is a bungalow, an 80 square metre bungalow. That 80 square metre bungalow might be worth £100,000. And the cost of the measures is 30.
Yeah.
So the profit margin is 70. So as a lead generator, you usually, the way Eco works, you're on a scheme, a principle which is called ABS, which is how the Eco is calculated, but you're on a fixed rate and you get paid on install or after install. So what we do at All Seasons, we pay 50% of your comms when the first measure is installed and 50% after install, just to help everybody out.
Yeah.
Most installers, I can't say all because I don't know all, most installers pay you a fixed amount at the end of the install, usually when the job's been submitted these days.
Mm-hmm.
So day 1 you generate the lead, day 80 is the measure being installed, day 120 is the final install, day 130 you get paid. It's a very, very
Long cycle.
long cycle.
And I think that's an important point, because for those that are listening that thinks, well, even if it costs 100, even if it costs 90 and you're getting 100, it's still 10 grand profit. The key point is that the fitter needs to expense the fit until they claim that money back from the funder. So putting 90k into something to get 10 back isn't particularly wise, depending on who you talk to, I guess. But some might have the risk appetite for it. I would imagine most don't. But that's the key point. See, just on the job worth part, right? I know that ultimately the rules of the scheme are the rules of the scheme. You or any other fitter or any lead gen don't really determine that. But what's your personal opinion on that? 'Cause I think a lot of people that are listening would think, why would any home in Britain be worth putting £100,000 into it to increase the energy efficiency of that home? It just seems like an obscene amount of money.
Oh, it is. I'm not a scientist or a physicist or whatever ist you need to be to make the calculation, of carbon savings. It is an obscene amount when you have, old people in maisonettes, flats and bungalows who don't get diddly squat, yet all the funding is being thrown into off-gas areas. That's the difference, guys. Yeah, Eco, off-gas versus mains gas. You're in a mains gas property, forget it. The chances of you getting any help are very small. If you're in an off-gas property, whoa, it goes up. So that's the unfairness, I think, in all honesty. Yes, we get it. It's about carbon savings. It's about climate change. And I'm all for that because it does really work. And I'll give you examples shortly. But the way it's administered, I think it could do with the
improvement there.
Yeah,
and I think from my lens, so growing up in Glasgow all my life, city, urban city, and I remember you were one of the first people we spoke to in Eco. Zish, and we came in at Eco 4, didn't have an absolute clue what any of it meant. And the biggest surprise for me, and it might come on to your examples, was I just thought naively, everybody's got a gas line. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got a gas boiler. Oh, just turn the heating on, check the thermostat. And the biggest eye-opener for me, and I don't know about you, Brian, but just the variety of living conditions in the UK is just mad.
Like there's people that still heat their house with coal, fossil fuel.
Yeah.
That to me was just the biggest eye-opener ever.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think you'd be shocked with how close to people that live where we live are actually using heating oil to heat their house rather than gas. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the most common that I know, rather than electricity or that, but obviously.
I was just going to kind of follow that up with, thinking of maybe examples. Has there been anything that has really shocked you when you've been working in Eco in regards to it, be it from a customer or anything that you've dealt with?
Shocked me. There's lots of things that have shocked me. The way some people are actually living. Okay. My example, if I may give you one. So we got approached via a lead gen. Like I had a relationship with you. I had other relationships with other lead gens. So it was one of their Facebook customers. It was just a lead generated. Okay. And I touched on this before. Lead generators are very, very, very good. Some of them, most of them, present company. Very good at generating leads. What you're not good at is processing Eco4 leads. Yeah, that's where we come in.
Yes.
So they generated this lead, magic. Oh yes, it's an F-rated property and it's this and it's that. So we got on the phone. First thing this poor girl said is, "Look, you are the 5th company I'm talking to. I'm being honest with you. I've had 4 surveys and no one's willing to help me." Okay, that's where we come in. That's music to my ears. I'll help you where I can. So this young girl, and we've all seen the stories, the media put a terrific spin on it, that there's young people or old people living with hot water from a kettle because their heating doesn't work. This was one of those. Single mums with 2 children living off a kettle. She had a back boiler, so for listeners, a back boiler is a old boiler system which is predominantly behind your gas fireplace with a hot water cylinder and radiators, central heating system. She had no loft insulation. Her property is a 50s build, very, very minor cavity wall insulation. So I said, "Don't worry, I'll help you." Sent a surveyor who wasn't far from her, to be honest, from a similar estate, female as well. And she did the survey. I said to the installer, I sent them a few good jobs and this one. I said, "Look, we really need to help this girl." And fair play to the installer, they did. They went out of their way. They gave a couple of extra radiators, loft insulation, boiler. You know what that girl did? She phoned me and said, "I'm going to go to the paper and talk about you." So I thought, wow, no one's ever done that before. Go do it. Tell him.
Yeah, definitely.
Tell him. Newspapers being newspapers, they phoned me, they wanted to interview me and also talked me into placing an advert.
I mean, to be fair, it was myself who raised the point around, is £100,000 a house really worth it? But I guess even just hearing that one story, if you're that individual that's living in that property, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can't really put a price on, in inverted commas, living normally. Like heating hot water with a kettle is just, it's so difficult to comprehend with kids how challenging that must be. So looking at it through that lens, I'll retract I was jesting to a certain extent anyway.
Yeah.
But
maybe I took it too serious. What has shocked me is the standard of installs. Okay. And not that I've been involved with many, because most of the installers I've worked with have been a long time. A few new ones. But I always do my research before I start working with anybody. Just the standard of some installs, and we only find out now that all seasons we're getting these calls. "Oh, it wasn't you guys who did it, but I really need some help. I've checked your reviews, I've done this, I've done that." Conversation I had with a lady last night, very, very similar boat. How owners of companies getting away with it? Such shocking installs, Do
you think it's the money that's just pulling the wrong people into the scheme?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was going to be my question, actually. See, in regards to standard installs, did you see that in Eco 1, 2 and 3, or did it really change when Eco 4 and the big numbers started coming in?
Oh, it's always been there.
Always?
Always been there. Always been there. And I'm not going to say to any business owner that install a better product to reduce your profit. But sometimes you need to install a better product.
Yeah.
And what's happened in Eco 1 is I met lots of installers who were just installing cheap boilers, cheap nasty boilers, which probably weren't even going to last a year, 2 years. Yeah, they do come with a warranty, but the certain brands have reputations. So you just keep away from those brands. And that mentality, unfortunately, exists in a lot of businesses. It's just the world, isn't it? It's just the business world.
Every business has people, or every industry has people that are unscrupulous.
Yeah.
So your company, Zish, you work for now, obviously started off lead gen and like they guys do now.
Yeah.
Are you in an installer company, or where are you guys in the process as such?
Yeah, so I'm now with All Seasons Energy, head of new business. And as I was saying, coming back to my eco journey, so I came back and I realised now mains gas has gone, 2018, I have to start venturing out to other areas. And that's when I got introduced to All Seasons and another company. And these two companies I held in high regard ever since I've worked with them. Both been there for me, both helped me out a lot. And what happened at All Seasons, literally Eco4 has been a really, really up and down journey for me personally. Success that, we were awarded Energy Consultancy of the Year for the Northwest for 2023. I got a high commendation as a business development manager for the Northwest, and we got a special national commendation, all by the Energy Efficiency Association. And people are really, sometimes very fickle with awards. Yeah, I paid an application fee. But everything is, you have to have references and real life examples of, what you've been up to. You don't just get an award for paying 85 quid, do you? And there were other companies. So yes, success on that side. But Eco4, because of the process of installations, even with these good installers, it's the cash flow. Mm-hmm. It's been very, very, very hard. So what happened, I started on a local mentoring program the local government were doing. So I thought, yeah, let's do it. You always got something to learn. Lovely lady came in, a couple of hours, and just helped me out, guide me. And she said, look, do you think you need investment? I said, I've not really thought about it, but it's worth looking at. So she put me in touch with their finance side, who was an ex-bank manager. He'd never seen eco in his life, by the way. Never seen the money or anything. He had to take 2 weeks out just to research. When he came back to me, he said, look, you've got something here. You need to tell people. So he made me do a business plan, which I've never done before, which gives everybody all your secrets. That's what a business plan is, isn't it? Did a cash flow forecast, and he said, no, this is too good to be true. You've got it down. I said, it's not too good to be true. It is what it is. No, if you put that in front of an investor, Zish, they're going to walk away. Rightly so. If I'm telling you, you can invest 200 grand and I can make 5 million out of it for you, of course you're going to walk away. So I toned it down. Anyway, I spoke to a few investors and I just got ripped to shreds. They wanted all the meat and even some of your bone. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay. Richard, very, very good friend of mine through Eco, owner of All Seasons Energy, I approached him. I said, look, you've recently sold your company to Era, a Swedish heat pump manufacturer. Help me out. He came back to me with a total different proposition, which ended up me being now head of new business at All Seasons Energy. I didn't have much time to think about it. He didn't give me much time to think about it. Listen, you either tick or I'm pressing enter on Indeed now. This job is going to be advertised now. You've got to say yes now. No, we agreed a package, because of my condition. He knows all about it. So I told him they're based in Sheffield. I'm not willing to relocate. I want my office in Bury. I can't work from home, guys. Do you work from home? Has anybody ever done that?
I've had
days during lockdown.
Prolonged periods of working from home for me until I joined Barry full time. But already I'm like, I don't know if I could go back to it. Maybe the odd day is fine, but I like being in the office and having a laugh.
So I've kept my office in Bury at my own cost. Yeah, because I like my space. Mm-hmm. I need to be feeling like I'm at work. So. Yeah, and I'm managing a lot of the new business coming into the eco side. A little bit of solar. Haven't touched anything to do with heat pumps yet. I've been there a couple of months, and it's different. It's different.
So I know we spoke about this before today's episode, but I'm sure there'll be many viewers or listeners that are interested. You've worked for yourself for a long time. How does it feel, and what has it been like going back into the workforce and having to adhere to policies and procedures and other people's opinions influencing your work? Talk to us about that transition.
I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Because everything before was all in my mind. I'd pitched out what I'm doing this week, what time I'm waking up, what time I'm going to bed, blah blah blah. No, it's been very hard, but yeah, I'm enjoying it. because there's a massive team, and there's so many people who work very, very hard, so many passionate people. That's why a business is successful. You know, and I'm meeting all these people now finally and working with them, and it's a different life. So yeah, it's been tough. The hardest part is not thinking everything's in my head now. I've got to be open and communicate with people, which I'm already good at. And that was one of Richard's biggest concerns. But I said, look, you've known me for a few years. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't just think I'm here for the next 2 months. I'm planning my next 10 years. Who knows what happens in life? You know, I'm always a big believer in that. Something might happen. My condition is my biggest concern. You know, is my health going to be good enough? But the kind of role is for me to mould into. There's been a couple of weeks already when the weather's got cold that I've been in Bury all week. I've been unable to travel physically. I can't. And he's accepted that. And I've already said that before I started. So I'm just grateful I've landed on my feet for such a good company.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Good,
yeah, great. And you mentioned next 10 years. So what does the future look like for you, Zish? what you got in your head at the moment?
In my head, so I just want to be a bit more relaxed. You know, every week chasing invoices, chasing people for installs and stuff like that. I've got a bit more solidarity now. Can be a lot more calmer. In theory, the actual role is nothing like that. By the way, it is very, very demanding. Very demanding. You know, but the thing I like is at All Seasons they've maintained relationships with lead generators since Richard's been at All Seasons and since before. People work with us. And we've got and I've brought lots of my own lead generators who are like, Zish, right, when can we start? We want to work with you. We want to work with you. I'm like, calm down. You know, just let me get my feet under the table. I've got to find room for you. I don't want to take your jobs off and they're stuck. So it's a buzz at the moment. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good, mate. Well, all the best. And, you know, for what it's worth, as Barry mentioned earlier in the podcast, when we first arrived in Eco4 land and knew nothing, there's a lot of people in Eco4 like you that are exceptionally friendly, professional, always willing to help. There's equally a whole host of people that if they know they're not getting money out of you, they're not interested. Yeah. And you always took the time, even when you knew there was, you know, no pot of cash at the end of the rainbow, to sit down with Barry and I, explain things to us, take time out your day to talk through how things worked, you know, where our focus should be. And that's a large part of our business now, is eco, you know, helping other Eco4 fitters. So just a big thank you for me.
Massive thank you, Zish.
Very, very grateful.
Thanks for all your patience, because you've been a massive help, mate, and thanks. And I've actually got another question about Eco4 before we finish up.
Fire away.
But can't quite let you off the hook just yet, Zish. What do you see the future of the scheme? What do you think's going to develop?
The future's heat pumps.
Okay.
The future is heat pumps, and that's why I've joined All Seasons. If anybody out there listening, involved in eco and wants to be involved for the future, come and talk to us. There's some big plans here. With ERA are backed by a lot of money. The future is heat pumps, guys. Gas is on its way out, and that's why I'm here. And I'd encourage everybody, lead generators especially, anybody who's looking to get employment with an installer, this is where you need to be.
I must admit, I think I do agree. Whether you agree that the heat pumps are right or wrong, that's a whole different conversation. But I can't help but get a sense that whether you like them or not, it feels like we're going to either be pushed or dragged in that direction. Even if you don't like them, they're very divisive. I don't quite know why. They just really seem to split opinion among people. But I get a sense that whether we like it or not, that's kind of where we're going.
Need another podcast on heat pumps, don't we?
Yeah, I can feel like that's educational.
That's where it's going, isn't it? You want me back for another one of these? I agree. You know, it's not for me to say if they're right or wrong. All I know is there's a lot of investment, business-wise. If anybody's going to take a punt, renewables. I've not even touched on solar. You know, solar as well. whether it's paid, whether you pay for it yourself, or whether it's through a grant. The two combined, that's where I see the next 10 years going.
Cool. Well, thank you for being here. I guess another great example of how a successful entrepreneur and business owner doesn't necessarily have it all figured out. It's fine to just, stumble your way through life, experience new things, pivot accordingly, and you've still made a great success out of yourself. So thanks for being here.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And anybody I can help, I do. If I can't, I'm just dead straight with you, and I'll tell you no. It's not that I help everybody that comes along. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be some connection. So yeah, thank you for having me.
And we can echo that, Zish. Thanks again for coming up.
Travelling up,
and thanks for helping us over the years. And I'm sure you'll continue to do it, because we've always got questions.
Absolutely, I'm here to help you. Hopefully we've got a good connection here for the next 10 years and beyond.
Brilliant.
My first visit to Scotland as well. Look what you made me do. You made me come to Scotland. I've been to US, I've been to bloody Dubai, I've been all over the place, and you made me come to Scotland, which is only a few hours away. So thank you for that.
Amongst a lot we've accomplished in the last hour, that's an accsupplement we can take. We got you to Scotland, but thanks again, Zish. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And suppose it just round it up. Thanks everyone for listening. It's another podcast complete. As always, check out our socials on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Give us a like and follow, and we'll have another episode for you next week. Thanks.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.